Musk thing is pretty interesting. You know what's the most interesting to me about it?
You tell me what is the most interesting. The fact that he bought, what'd you say, Monroe for $76?
Yeah, I saw a post on Facebook, so it must be true from the city of Monroe that he bought the entire city of Monroe for $76. Not
Well,
even billion, just 76. Not even thousand, $76.
now if I was from Monroe, you know what the rub would be, right?
No, what is that?
The rub would be the fact that he wanted his damn change back.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that would just go all over me.
Well, look, let me just put it this way. I am a huge fan of Elon Musk, but I don't harbor any aspirations that he's any sort of conservative. He's not. I just think he's about the closest thing to Tony Stark and Iron Man that we have right now.
But I mean, look, if you're Shreveport and our good friend over there at Love Shreveport Bossier, I mean, he's just going to delete Shreveport off the map. He wouldn't even offer change for Shreveport.
As long as the yeah, he want a refund. As long as the dividing line is right there in the river, wherever the city limits division is. I don't know if it's down the middle of there or whatever, because the river flows. As long as he doesn't delete us on this side, I may actually start using my own Twitter account and maybe even the Bossier Watch Twitter account here pretty soon now.
Well, I got to tell you, I have been on Twitter here religiously here lately, and I have been getting information from Twitter. I mean, more so than I have any other outlet on things going on in DC and across the country. I mean, I got to tell you, that's been the best source of information.
Well, the funny thing about it is Twitter has nowhere the user base or I guess really the traffic that, like Facebook does and all that. But as far as a resource for getting information, it's actually pretty good. I mean, fake information or not, one person's junk is another person's castle. But anyway, so we may actually start using that. We've got a Rumble account set up and what else? Signal deal set up and all sorts of things set up for social media we just hadn't really utilized yet. But, we could sit here and
Yeah.
talk about pushing pixels all day long.
Oh yeah, I've been chasing this John Durham stuff, following it on Russiagate, and it was the Russians and collusion, Russia collusion, and all that crap. And I got to tell you, he is handing them their hat. I
Hmm.
mean, last night he made a filing, and in the filing, most of you may not have heard about it yet, but I think the person that did the filing for him, Rex, made a mistake, and they posted like hundreds of emails that were supposed to be under seal, but they didn't like seal them when they uploaded them to Pacer. They uploaded them without them all being sealed, so they made them public, and they weren't supposed to be public. And
Oops.
all the emails or all these communications with Fusion GPS and the DNC and all them people, Hillary for America, it was all the communications and coordinating efforts with all the national news media outlets to
Hmm.
frame Trump.
Well, it could get, eventually the truth is going to come out one way or the other, good or bad, no matter which side of the fence you're on. Eventually, people just, they can't keep their mouth shut. Eventually, it's going to come out. Oh, look at there. Miss Ann Price said hello. Hadn't seen her in the comments. I don't think we've seen her the last couple of shows. Maybe she's watched after the fact. Hello, Miss Ann. Glad to have you on tonight. So, speaking of that, let's do just a quick rundown of our topics. We'll do our countdown so we can share everything out, and let's get started. So, in the event listing, I had a picture of somebody who should be familiar to a lot of people around Bossier, Lisa Friday Johnson.
Yeah, and hey, you may not have heard it, but there's a new police chief in Bossier. You hear that?
No, I heard some rumblings on social media, but I hadn't had time to dig into it. So we have a entirely new police chief.
Got it. Well, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I mean, newly appointed, new appointed police chief.
all right,
Um, I
okay.
don't know. Anyway, Jimmy Davis Bridge. We are
Mm-hmm.
going to jump off the Jimmy Davis Bridge, jump off into the Jimmy Davis
Oh,
Bridge.
okay. I just
We're not going to jump off.
yeah. I've
Well, I
done.
mean, you go first. You go first. I'll watch, see how it turns out.
Hey, I ain't scared. Quick thing, and then we'll hit the countdown deal. But when I was a kid, there's a bridge over by a railroad trestle over Bayou DeSeard in Monroe that goes between. What is it all? No, it's not Oliver Boulevard. Anyway, it goes over by the country club over there. And so we used to take our mongoose bikes and all that as kids, tie life jackets onto them, walk them out on the railroad trestle, and bunny hop them off into the bayou, which is, I don't know, back then I'd swear it was 25 feet down, but it probably wasn't, but maybe 10 or 12. But anyway, and then bicycles float up, we'd swing the bikes out and go do it again.
Well, there's some other stuff going on. In fact, Mayor Chandler, Rex, this is hot off the presses. Mayor Chandler,
Uh-oh.
just within the last few minutes, I would say probably 10 to 15 minutes, Mayor Chandler essentially told a citizen of Bossier to shut up
What?
and questioned the citizen as to whether or not he lived in the city because the citizen was asking him questions.
I don't I don't think Tommy, as a matter of fact, probably a lot of politicians, I don't think they get it. It's like the city council members. Some of them think that, well, if you're not a direct constituent of mine, I don't answer to you. Wrong. It's not the way that works. Very interesting.
I mean, I'm shocked that Tommy Chandler would be throwing rocks at citizens of Bossier City for asking questions. I'm dying to know what the questions were that he asked. But anyway, yeah, Tommy Chandler, and Tommy Chandler is in other news. Jimmy Davis Bridge. But we'll get to that here
We'll
in a
get
little
to that.
bit.
And then we've got, apparently some people ready to charge the Linton Road Bridge. So we're going to talk about that. They've got their torches and pitchforks out, and I think they're ready to, take some action. And then soiling the cement. That sounds, I'm not really sure. I put that up there, but I'm not really sure how that actually sounds now that I read it.
Well, I mean, that would be a police jury thing. And the last police jury meeting, there was some commentary from some police jurors, Philip Rogers, about the engineer and some apologies and some. Anyway, we're going to cover that. And, Cypress Black Bayou, I don't know if we're going there or not. You keep holding me in suspense. Maybe. I
Not
don't
quite
know.
ready yet, and that's going to be so long, it's going to have to be its own video. But we may talk about it a little bit tonight. But I'm not prepared completely again. Tonight,
I got you.
of course.
Well, that's
So,
good
anyway.
enough. That's good. I'm not going to beat you to a pulp, but we do have to talk about, because a lot of people are asking some questions about these Bossier Parish school system renewals. I
Oh
think
yeah, taxes.
taxes. Some people have been doing some math and they're kind of starting to scratch their head. So if you're friends with somebody on the school board, or you're friends with teachers who don't want to ask any questions or talk about the subject, or they just want a rubber stamp, or, you know, whatever, we're going to talk about that a little bit. And we encourage y'all to chime in.
Yeah, so paging school board members, you're welcome to join in. You have our phone numbers. We're not hard to find. All right, well, let's go ahead and we're going to do our quick countdown. We're in at about 9 minutes, about 9 minutes. That'll put us perfectly in Facebook's magical time where everybody's had their notifications. So we appreciate everybody that's joining in so far, everybody that's commenting and letting us know that you're online. We're going to hit the countdown. As you know, if you watch the show, we'll be back in about 2.5 to 3 minutes, and we're going to dive into all of these topics and more, and we want your comments. We will be right back.
Just, they feel helpless, they don't feel heard, they have nowhere to turn.
In all honesty, we try to lay low a little bit because of the fear that we would not be able to camp there.
And I titled it, A Shot Across the Bow of the Good Old Boys.
Hello everybody. I don't think I've ever done a video before on here, but yeah, I wanted to tell y'all what frustrates me a little bit about permits.
Cockroach of the week is, drumroll please, Allie Feaster Smith.
We can't be apathetic about what's going on in our state. We have to all pull up our bootstraps and get on top of this. So you're right. There's a problem out there. I mean, and man, you can see it everywhere.
Well, look, we have allowed government to become our wherewithal to everything.
Well, I've not heard my name in stable or Baton Rouge in stable in the same sentence in a long time.
You're about to be killed by a Zamboni, or you're gonna die in 5 minutes.
This Bossier Watch live broadcast is brought to you by Eagle Truck Center, soaring to new heights. The Outdoor News, fishing and outdoors for our area. Acadiana Mortgage, over 23 years in the mortgage business. Smarter Geek, making technology easier. And the many supporters, donations, and folks sharing information and watching out for Bossier. Now, grab your popcorn and a drink. Here we go. Well, and I have to do another shameless plug, so, if you've noticed the Outdoor News logo down there, folks, or if you saw in that little 30-second ad roller thing there, I actually did a live show last night on my Outdoor News page and interviewed Jeff Sibley, who is a wildlife biologist for the Wildlife and Fisheries for District 1, and it was very interesting. Matter of fact, we talked about fat cows versus skinny cows.
Fat cows and skinny cows. Well, that would sound something along the lines of what Tucker Carlson would talk about, considering the prompt you gave last show. I think we lost viewers over that.
Well, we're trying to see if we can push people away to see if they bounce back. I don't know. There's no telling on this show what we're.
Well, they may not recover from that. I don't know. It's still burned in my memory. Not in a good way either.
Okay, so let's get started. We've got just a touch over 30 viewers right now. Folks, we appreciate everybody watching. We see the comments from everybody. And as always, of course, your comments are very welcome on the show, even if, I would say especially if you don't agree with us. And local politicians, you're invited as well. If you want to come on the show and talk about something, shoot us a text message. And, hey, we can get you on the show pretty quick. All right. With all that out of the way, who got what done? What is going on?
Well, today was the official day. In a lot of different past shows, we've done all of this about the police chief in Bossier. We've had all these emails and all this stuff. Well, it kind of the whole thing came to a head today because officially Tommy Chandler named. Wait a minute, hold up.
All right, well.
Stop
the presses.
Actually, there was an event scheduled, a naming of the police chief, and I started to say Tommy Chandler named a police chief, but actually that's not what happened.
Oh, what had happened was
actually Pastor Justin Hagler of the Simple Church, he announced the appointment of Tommy Chandler in the opening remark. Chief Estes as the chief in the opening remarks.
Really?
He announced him. He did.
Well,
and then later, Tommy Chandler gets up and confirms it.
Oh, well, that was nice of him. So they gave it away before they gave it away.
They gave it away before they gave it away. I thought that was kind of interesting, and not trying to take anything away from Chief Estes. I mean, because that was a side deal, but there were some people that commented or sent us messages about the fact that it was announced, by somebody other than the mayor as to who his pick was.
Well, apparently, we were not the only ones, or you were not the only person that noticed that, because Lisa Gosden Smith says, I'm glad somebody else noticed that. So apparently some other folks kind of caught on to that the secret was let go before it was supposed to be officially.
I mean, was it earth shattering, and did it change anything? No. And we don't want to take anything away
Right.
from, for Chief Estes. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a significant day. It is a milestone. I mean, you can see in that picture there, he's got his wife by his side. He's got his mom and dad and son there to the side. And, just in true police fashion, you see he's got his hands up. He's got his eyes hid so you can't see us. See, that's a good law enforcement guy. He's watching, making sure you're doing right.
Yeah, we got the little side eye paying attention, everybody. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put up this next screenshot because we'll need it here shortly. But yeah, I just got to say, look, I know we've got the anti-Estes crowd that consistently, and we appreciate it, consistently sends us messages via Proton Mail. And we appreciate everybody that sends us information there. But look, I got to say, personally, Chief Estes has been very cordial to me, and he's been pretty forthcoming with responding to any questions that we've asked and all that. So got to give him credit where it's due.
Absolutely. And, we have the folks that have had criticism. We've confronted him about that criticism, and he's given us a reply. And, prior to today, when the announcement came that they're going to name the permanent chief today, I sent Chris a message, and I asked him, I said, what do you think? It's kind of basically how I posed it. And he said, you see the text. It says, I'll just be honored to have the opportunity to lead the men and women of the Bossier City Police Department. Like anything with an appointment or election, not everyone will be happy. That's just life. I will do my best to serve the citizens of Bossier to the best of my ability. I want our community to be safe. I will do everything I can to ensure that happens. I will also take care of the men and women of this department and be an advocate for them. I'm grateful for young men and women who choose to work in law enforcement, especially during these challenging times. I will fumble, make mistakes, have regrets, but no matter what, I will always do so with the best of intentions. I thought that was a pretty doggone good quote.
Yeah, especially, look, the last sentence is spot on. He's not saying he's going to know everything or be able to do everything perfectly or whatever. And, of course, gives us all the opportunity to hold him to that, the best of intentions.
Yeah. And I think that is what so many people in government miss, is the fact that the expectation is not for you to be perfect, but the expectation is for you to acknowledge when you've made a mistake, and just say it. Just don't even, or just act like you're human. Don't act like you're superhuman or you're something that you're not. Too many people won't do that. They can't. I mean, it's about ego drivenness. I don't know.
Well,
that was bad English.
Nah, close enough, but you're right. It's the stepping stone syndrome for a lot of folks. They're always looking to move up to the next higher office or next higher position. And so a lot of them have trouble admitting fault, or I don't know. Anyway, we could go on and on and on about that. So,
well, they don't want to say they're wrong, and they think they have all the answers. I mean, and just like Estes here, if he is doing wrong, I mean, and it's pointed out, we're going to call him out. Just like Tommy Chandler. At first we were kind of singing the praises of Tommy Chandler. Were we not?
Look, we actually defended him through the whole Tahoe Tommy routine. Really. I mean,
did.
If you go back and watch the show, folks, and again, personally, Tommy's a super nice guy. It's not that at all. It's just, well, we've talked about it ad nauseum, but yeah, we'll hold any of our public officials accountable because, well, they're public officials.
I mean, look, and being a police officer in today's time with a large percentage of the country that are anti-police, they're anti-law enforcement. I mean, I got to tell you, to have the cojones to become a police officer this day and time, I mean, look, that's somebody with some backbone there.
Yes.
You got to hat tip anybody that's willing to do that job this day and time.
True. So, folks, let us know in the comments, what do y'all think about Chris Estes being sworn in as the, I guess, permanent police chief or just chief of police now, whatever the actual official title is now. What do y'all think about him as police chief? Let us know in the commentary.
So, Rex, moving right along, I think there in the background, there might even been some police jury people on there. Some of them even call our show the Stupid Show. So
wait, they called our show the Stupid Show at the swearing-in ceremony?
No, I don't think they did that. Because
dang.
then that would be upholding the charges that we don't do nothing but lie and spread innuendo.
I mean, I don't.
They probably said it in some conversation, but
I don't care about being called the Stupid Show. That's fine. If you're going to call us the Stupid Show, do it often. Do it publicly. Come on the show and call it. Come on the show and call it the Stupid Show.
Yeah, that would be just. I mean, what does that say about everybody that's watching the Stupid Show?
Well, and look, we get comments all the time. Well, why don't you have so and so on the show? People y'all don't understand. It's the other way around. I mean, yes, we do call and invite people on the show sometimes, but everybody has an open invitation to come on this show live right now. If Tommy Chandler wants to come on, if he can pull away from, the women's meeting deal or whatever long enough, he is welcome. He's welcome to come on this show right now from where they are.
Hey, there's over 50 people watching right now. You know what? If we could get all 50 on them, we could invite 50 people to come on right now. Any of y'all that want to come on the show and put your 2 cents in, by all means, message us and we'll bring you in.
Yeah.
You can speak your piece. We don't care. Tell us about any elected official, whatever you want to say. And you can get on here and condemn us. You can say you don't like his haircut, or you can dislike my lack of hair. We don't care.
Yeah, just remember it's live. There ain't no takebacks.
No takebacks.
So, go ahead.
Police jury, and Jimmy Davis Bridge. Rex, did you get to watch the police jury meeting?
Honestly, I have not. And so I'm actually anxious to see this. So let me make sure that I've got all this queued up over here. I think I do, yes. Well, let's see.
Okay, wait a minute. David Womack just said that he wants to come on the show right now. And
shoot him the link. All right, so David, here's the deal. Since we don't have time to email you the little deal and all that. When you come on the show, you want to make sure and give permissions to your microphone and your camera, and put your phone, if you come in by phone, put it on Do Not Disturb, because if you get a phone call that comes in, it'll kill your audio. No big deal. You have to come back into the show. So just a few little technical things. Make sure your hair's done. Make sure the lighting's right. And you're welcome to come on. Negative Ghost Rider. Aha. Yeah. Uh-huh. It's all fun and games till it's time to be in front of the camera. Okay. Yeah, Jimmy Richardson says, man, I could get on such a roll, but I better pass. Hey, you're welcome to come on, Jimmy. And look, we don't have much of a filter here, so, we try to suppress our use of foul language. But,
all right.
Y'all are welcome to come on. All right, anyway, moving on. So now,
we got to get that restream video with that police jury meeting up and going.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
20th.
Yeah, and somehow I got, that's actually the one to December. Hold on. Let me get the right one. There's.
Hello, Ashley Bullock.
Yeah,
let's see here. Hello. I don't know if you said hello to Charlie and Judy East, Rex, but they're on.
Awesome.
And I know you
Glad-
said hi to Ann and the Villamorettes. They're
Yeah.
on.
Good.
Good to see y'all, and Mike and Judy Dillingham,
Yeah.
or the Dillingham family. Maybe I should say that.
Okay, so we did want the December the 15th police jury meeting, correct? Is that the one that we're at now?
Well, actually, the one we need to start with is April 20th of 2022.
Okay, got it. That's when I got pulled up. Now, let me get it over here on the screen. Bear with me, folks. It's been one of those days, but let's see what technical wizardry I can make happen here. This should be that show. Let me get in start live review. I'm going to hit play for just a second. Let's make sure we got audio tonight.
Meeting, we will have our...
Yes, we do. We have audio. Okay. So, you're going to take control, or you want me to just go up?
I will
to the
take.
points?
I will take control, and I'm going to have to I'm going to have to bring everybody up to speed here for just a minute. So we're not going to automatically just jump right out, calling people out and making people mad to where we got to hire security and more cameras and all that stuff. So we're not going right there out of the bat. But at this police jury meeting, don't care where you live in Bossier Parish, but this is some really interesting stuff right here. A little wonky, a little boring to go out of the gate, but how many of you out there wonder about flooding? How many of you out there wonder, and how many of you have heard about the impact of the river on the water table, and flooding in your subdivisions and the like? I mean, pretty much everybody. And you've all kind of heard about, that, okay, well, we're having all of this increased water and stuff. And it may still be, in fact, because this little bit of information that happened at the police jury doesn't conclusively, I don't want to put words in, the person who's fixing to be speaking's mouth or the police jury. I'm not doing that at all. But the information that he shares, specifically talking about an area in North Bossier along, Airline or the Willis Chute area, and, the water tables here. And I'm going to go ahead and start. This guy is Mike with the Red River Watershed Commission. I didn't know there was such a thing, but apparently there is. So we're going to go ahead and go with it. Rex, you ready?
Yeah, hit play and let's see what happens.
Mike with the Red River Watershed Commission speaking my report, but he's got to go somewhere. Can I add him as a visitor to give us an update on the groundwater study? That's what
Yes, of course, we will add him. Can I get a motion? I got a motion. Motion by Mr. Cochran, second by Mr. Brotherton. Any discussion from the jurors or the audience? If not, please vote. Motion passes.
Raise the mic.
Mr. Jordan? He was a yes.
Can you hear me okay?
You can take off that mask if you like, if you'll get it further away from you.
So I just want to give you an update
Good job, Doug Rimmer.
on our groundwater monitoring project. So we came last February and delivered a presentation of what we've done so far. And we discussed issues with Willow Chute being a potential link with our higher levels of groundwater over here in Bossier Parish. And we also discussed purchasing and installing rain gauges, and so we have purchased and installed them. We have issues with the readings of it, and we're working on that with our vendor with the issue with that. And so
Did you
the data
speed that up
basically
on
is from
purpose?
the National Oceanic and
Okay.
Atmospheric Administration.
Yeah.
The National Weather Service.
Just making
data.
sure.
So
I'm
just
good with
a
it.
Quick reminder of where all of our wells are around the parish. You can see they're pretty evenly distributed around Bossier and northern part of the parish. And I'm focused on where the 3 stars are, monitoring well 11 up in the north, monitoring well 8 in the southwest, and then monitoring well 5 in the southeast of the image over there, pretty close to Willow Chute. And so when I looked at the 2021 and early 2022 data, what I found is that May turned out to be the wettest month that we had on record. And you see the pattern there where the darker blue is representing where the water's closer to the surface, or obviously Willow Chute and Flat River kind of jump out at us. But you see the general pattern is generally pretty central, where it gets a little bit lower elevation of.
Okay, I'm going to stop.
Well,
So
that's,
I'm not
that's the
gonna
way to
continue.
listen to a meeting at 1.5 times their normal speed. That's the way to do it.
Well, that is the way that we do it.
Right.
And occasionally at 2 times the speed. But
Yeah.
so basically what this cat is saying, he's like that the parish commission or this company or whoever this cat, or whoever he's with, they put 3 wells in, at 3 different locations, and they were monitoring the water levels. He started articulating that May of 2021, they had the highest levels, and he goes on to say, and I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, he said that the water table came within 3 foot of the surface. He goes on to point out that later in that same year, November, I think it's of 2021, that they recorded the lowest, where it was almost like you had to go almost 15 feet to get to the water table, below the surface.
Right.
So what they're trying to determine is the cause and effect of, what is the factor that makes everybody's houses in Bossier, or specifically in the area they're talking about here, the geographical area, North Bossier, Willis-Chute, all that area along Airline Drive. What is the cause of, the water table to rise or fall? And is there a correlation to the river, or is there not? So at the 2142 mark is kind of where the best part of it is. And actually the parish attorney asked the really important question. So I'm going to jump to that point and move ahead on this.
Sir, is there any, have you made any correlation between the level of the river and these monitoring wells?
Well, that was the original interest, and that's what Butch came with us to us with the first. But what we found is that when we looked at the Red River levels, they weren't really agreeing with the rise in the water levels that we're seeing. But Willow-Chute, which flows right through, was a much better indicator of groundwater level rise. And so, in general, that's what we're seeing.
So if we go back to that slide that shows the level of water in Willow-Chute as opposed to the groundwater, can we go back to that one?
Yep, that's the one. Right.
There was a table that had some numbers.
Oh, the table. Got it.
So, and I appreciate that this ebbs and flows.
Right.
That's a joke. So if Willow-Chute is at 3 feet, if I'm looking at the top here in April, all the way over to the right, the surface water level is 3 feet in Willow-Chute. That's what that's telling me, right?
Right. So that means it's so the depth of Willow-Chute is at this point 3.24 feet.
Okay. And then if we went to monitoring well number 5 and dug down 5 feet, we would hit the water table.
Exactly.
Okay, that's how we read that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I apologize, I didn't make that clear. So the negative numbers mean that it's that far below the surface. So negative 4.7 means that it's 4.7 feet below the surface. Negative 5 means it's 5 feet below the surface. So it's getting pretty saturated, getting pretty high up. But when we compare this with our 2020 numbers, we had times of the year where it was getting within a foot of the surface in the wet times. So it's going down a little bit, and maybe we can attribute that to a little bit less precipitation. And so we have some of the precipitation data, and that's why it's important for us to get the rain gauge data going, because I'm taking.
So anyway, you heard him say it isn't related to the river. It's not related to that at all. And in other parts of this video, he basically articulates that it has more to do with, the precipitation that happens over the area. And then as the water is piled up in these drainage ditches or what have you, that saturates down and that causes the rise or fall in the water. So that point is insinuated here in just a minute, and Philip Rogers asks a good question. I'm going to jump to that part as well too. You ready?
Hit it.
So the more rain we get, the higher the water table gets.
Right. So we're trying to figure out exactly the correlation there, because I have a general pattern for all 3 wells, but I want to get the rain gauges going so we have points for each one to figure out exactly how much it responds to rain, so we have a better idea of what we're expecting.
So this sand that you talk about, we've had some failures in pipe in sand.
Okay.
Is that sand, do you think, carrying the water to all these different areas?
I don't know if it's the same unit of sand that we're talking about, because it could be different units, but that might be that it's just just saturating it with water. And I don't know exactly what's happening with these pipes or whatever, but it could be this carrying it and then moving it and then moving the formation around.
So
yeah, what a lot of people don't realize.
Wait a minute. The water table corresponds to Willow Chute and somewhat to the Red River, and the higher the water table, the easier you can see it, near the surface, and the more rain we get, the higher the water table is, at least temporarily. What's news about that?
Well, it would seem to me that some of this study, they're trying to make a case for the fact that the problems that they're having with the sewer district, or the problems that they're having with projects, I'm guessing, correlates to the river, and that they're trying to, they had this study and they're trying to make some determination on that's the cause and effect.
Well, what would be interesting to me is to look at the timeline between when the lock and dam system was completed, raising the level of the Red River, which off the top of my head would seem to probably have raised the water table, and see if that timeline correlates to some of these sewer line issues that they're having, would it not? And, they're going to try to make the Red River navigable much further north. That's been in play for a long time, but there's been some movement there, so it may raise the water table even more, even though they're saying that the Red River is not the best indicator of that. Willow Chute is. But Willow Chute, that bayou, I think it may have originally been part of the riverbed probably thousands of years ago as that river's changed course.
Well, I don't know so much that they're trying to say that, it has something to do with Willow Chute versus the Red River. I don't think that's the deal. I think just basically where the area of study is around Willow Chute, and, they're trying to make the determination as to, what may increase the risk or decrease the risk of flooding, and what has the greatest impact on the area around, generally described as Willow Chute. Case in point, look, sources tell us, Rex, that, Cypress Baptist Church had, approval for a construction project, up there, MPC approval and all that. And then all of a sudden, after they get going with their project, all of a sudden people with the police jury are saying, wait a minute, your concrete or what you're doing ain't going to work. You're going to have to raise it 6 or 16 inches or something because of the potential for flood. And, now that, I don't have all the information on that, but, got some people digging, but that's kind of been low key out there. But there's something going on there with the police jury and Cypress Baptist Church and, their permits there, or their approval for their construction project. So that all correlates into Willow Chute and these water tests. And does it have anything to do with the river, or does it not? According to this cat, it doesn't. And, Philip Rogers is a good question. I mean, a lot of people may not realize it, but we have sand streaks everywhere. On my farm, the crawfish farm, literally there's one field that I have a sand streak that runs through the top part of the field. I can't keep water on it. It's not productive because you pump water on it and it just falls right through it. It won't hold it. And same thing with what they're saying here is there sand streaks here that's allowing water to move along this Willow Chute, like you said, old river bottom, allowing water to move great distances. So it may be that, let's say, for instance, Willow Chute at Cypress Baptist Church, big storm rains up there, puts 5 inches on the ground. It doesn't rain down by your ways and Barry Butler's way, and it may not, it's dammed off. The Willow Chute Bayou is dammed off, but it has sand streaks. It can still get to you because it's traveling by way of a sand streak. I think that's what they're trying to determine.
And I would suggest to our viewers too, because I kind of got into a little bit of this when I was studying some of the area lakes and all that, but if you study the history of Lake Bistineau and the history of Caddo and the history of the Red River, and you realize the ferry boat traffic and all that used to run between Bistineau and Jefferson, Texas. and some of the origins of that. It's like you look at it and you go, wait, they had boat traffic going where? So anyway, it's very, very interesting if you actually start Googling and digging into that. But
Plain Dealing had one as well too. Sure
yeah,
did.
it's really
They
interesting.
call it the Phelps Lake River bottoms. But hey, the engineer, he wasn't done. The parish engineer, he wasn't done. And just to put an exclamation point on the importance of this discussion about the river, let's go to 2649, and then we'll move on after that.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
The formation around.
So y'all haven't been able to tie the river to the original saturation of it yet?
No, the Red River hasn't really shown any good correlation with the groundwater levels. And so we're going to continue monitoring these levels, see if we can find any more patterns. We're getting the rain gauges going, and we're also going to look a little bit deeper into that geologic, like figuring out where that sand is and maybe where it's a little bit thicker, a little bit thinner, so you can figure out exactly what's going on there.
Got any more questions for Mike?
Yeah, are y'all getting?
It's kind of like the guy almost should have kept the mask on his face, because it ain't like what he was saying was what everybody was wanting to hear.
No, they were wanting to hear. We can just go look and see how high the river is, and then we know whether we're going to flood.
Well, or were they wanting to be able to say, hey, Red River and maybe Locking Dam and the siltation is the cause, and maybe, I don't know, I may be reading into it. I got to study this a little more. I mean,
yeah, and Barry Butler brings up a point that the Sparta aquifer was very low. Well, that may be for groundwater, or well, it would be drinking water for wells, because the city gets our water from the Red River, unfortunately. But I think we're kind of on the western edge of the Sparta, if I remember correctly. Seems like we've talked about that before, but I don't think maybe the Sparta may have something to do with the flood levels and the groundwater that they're looking at, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, I'm not.
Well, look,
I'm not that Googled up enough on it.
The Sparta aquifer is a big deal. And
well, it's huge. We used to talk about it when I was in junior high, and then on into high school. We talked about it a great deal in some of the science classes because of how much water is. So that's where Ruston used to get all of its drinking water, and Ruston had great drinking water.
Well, that's right. And back in the 90s, that was a big deal because, I mean, and Jane Smith was a state representative, House District 8 during that time. And, you had the depletion. There was a big debate on it. It spans up into Arkansas.
And over to West Monroe and the paper mills. The paper mills sucked insane amounts of water out of the Sparta.
Well, and the Louisiana legislature commissioned, some studies on it to try to determine, and then enact regulation of, people tapping into the Sparta aquifer, because the Sparta aquifer was depleting at such a point. In fact, I think it was Louisiana conservationists. I read an article. I'm going to say it was probably in the early to middle 2000s, and it was talking about how water that was being pulled out of the Sparta aquifer at that time was water that rained during the Civil War. Now think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that the depletion rate, that the Sparta aquifer was falling in depth by a foot of year. Now, what that meant over a, north, south, east, west geographical measurement, I don't know, but the statistical number they were saying at that time was a foot per year. Now, what we're talking about here with these cats, we're not talking about deep, right, like drinkable water from, say, the Sparta. We're talking about water, surface water, and flooding potential of houses and the things like that. And where Barry Butler is going with this is the approval of subdivisions and additional houses or expansion of subdivisions. At what point? Actually, that was Kaylee Larkin, I think, is. Let me
bring up another point too, and I'm far from any expert in this, but when we as the city and the subdivisions continue to expand, and all the stores, guess what they use a lot of? Concrete. And now all of a sudden the water, the ability of the soil to absorb that water gets changed. I'll give you a good example. So when I was in high school, My parents and my grandfather owned a real nice apartment complex in Ruston. Mom and Dad lived there, managed the complex, and all that. Well, anyway, it was right behind where Kmart and all that used to be, and Bacchus True Value Hardware used to be, I think, Safeway back in the day. But anyway, the main shopping center in Ruston when you're traveling down I-20. The apartments were back behind that. So all of Graham Shopping Center drained through a single ditch or drainage deal through and under the apartment complex. Well, then they built Super One right up the hill and all that parking lot. And the amount of water that would flow through the drainage system below the apartments after that was unbelievable. At least the volume and the force of it coming through there. And we noticed an increase in flooding after that. So my point is, it's a little bit of anecdotal evidence, but as the city continues to expand and the housing and all that, which has got to happen because the population's expanding, all of a sudden we have more concrete and less dirt. And that may also be a factor in it as well.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Well, there were some other interesting points. Philip Rogers, he makes some interesting comments, and let's go to that. And I'm going to play Philip Rogers' comments. I think y'all will appreciate this.
See, folks, y'all thought y'all were going to get soap opera and drama tonight and all of that, and we're getting into flooding. Good stuff.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Regulations Committee.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes, we talked about some issues we're having in the Willow Chute Basin with flooding and all the development going on and what our route is to remedy that problem. And, a lot of times we forget that we're here and we're trying to take care of the residents and not developers and moving forward. So that's something we have to weigh out and work on because that's who we are serving is the public. And they're...
Now, what did he just say there?
Something didn't compute.
Let me play that again. I want everybody to listen. Y'all just heard what we talked about with the water. Let me play this again. Let's start over.
Report on a meeting of the road subdivision. Report on a meeting of the road subdivision regulations committee.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes, we talked about some issues we're having in the Willow Chute Basin with flooding and all the development going on and what our route is to remedy that problem. And, a lot of times we forget that we're here and we're trying to take care of the residents and not developers and moving forward. So that's something we have to weigh out and work on because that's who we are serving is the public. And they're,
wow.
And they're our first thought. It should be in everything we do. So we're talking about that and trying to come up with a scenario.
I'll save my comments for all that, but that's a good soundbite for re-election.
It is a good soundbite for re-election, but what I'm wondering is he saying that maybe we've had too much development and not enough drainage?
Or maybe not enough thought to it. So Paul Johnson has a good comment. He says the real reason this is an issue is that the front-end cost for developers to meet the engineering requirements for infrastructure will be significant. Interesting take on it.
Well, maybe we can't get water off fast enough. Maybe that's the, simple thing.
Well, I mean, it pretty much is it. The question is, how are you going to move that water? Again, the more concrete, the more flooding you're going to have, the more, and anyway, let's move on.
Report on a meeting of the road subdivision regulations committee.
Mr. Rogers?
Yes, we talked about some issues we're having in the Willow Chute Basin with flooding.
Yes,
and
thank you for speeding that up.
And what our route is to remedy that problem. And, a lot of times we forget that we're here and we're trying to take care of the residents and not developers and moving forward. So that's something we have to weigh out and work on because that's who we are serving is the public. And they're our first thought. It should be in everything we do. So we're talking about that and trying to come up with a scenario for making that better. And then also we talked about here a couple months we had a overweight truck coming through with the oil field companies, And, when they laugh in our face and say that it's cheaper to leave the trucks heavy and pay our fines, there again, we have to be concerned with our roads. And we're going to write them a letter and see if they can come with a different attitude before we take further measurements.
Okay.
Now I like that idea, Philip. I like that idea that you're going to write them a letter to change some attitudes. I like that, but I'm gonna hold it in reserve. There's another solution.
Are you talking about this solution that I'm seeing in the comments right here? I almost spit my water out on my keyboard when I saw this comment, but let me put this up on the screen. This might be the best solution ever. This is from David Bond. Build a Walter O. Bigby Lake near Willow Chute. I'm all for building another lake as long as they have Texas come over and monitor and orchestrate the bass fishing. I'm good. We can build that lake. I'm all for it.
You know what? I think I might even be in favor of that, but that is not the solution. Philip Rogers already knows the solution. He knows the other answer. But me and Philip, we're going to keep it a hush until a future show, and then I don't think he will share it, but I'm going to share it. It'll be in another show.
Walter O. Bigby Lake. Who's in with me?
Yeah, no kidding. So, Jimmy Davis Bridge. How many of y'all thought that Jimmy Davis Bridge would be anything of important, or why would you care? I mean, especially if you live in North Bossier, you're like, I don't care about no stinking bridge in South Bossier. I mean, even our illustrious friend David B. Womack points out that South Bossier is the most prone place to flood, so why not? We need to build more bridges down there. We need to put more development down there, right, David?
Well, and look, I just want to remind you that back during the was it the 2016 or 2018 floods, the one that hit the trailer park down in South Bossier so bad, I want to remind you that the Flat River, which is in my backyard, flows right behind that same trailer park that some friends of ours were literally walking out in chest deep water. They had, was it 2 or 3 6-inch pumps that they activated right up here from me to keep some of the really nice houses in the subdivision over next to me dry, and they weren't flooding either, by the way. None of the houses around me flooded, but they were sure pumping all that water into the Flat River, and the Flat River, of course, was already flooded to help flood South Bossier.
Yep, I know the story. Like I said, I spent many a night on that levee behind your house back there. Hauling sandbags endlessly, know full well. Yeah. But all that water flows south, and all you folks in South Bossier, I don't know that there's anything can really be done to help that situation down there. But Jimmy Davis Bridge and Rex, the Jimmy Davis Linear Park. Did you know about that?
Well, I've heard that. Name and word in the news, linear park. I mean, that's just such an official sounding term, a linear park. The good thing about the Jimmy Davis Bridge Linear Park, or as I put it in the show title, I think I called it the Linear Bridge, is that it's high enough. If it floods, we got serious problems around here. So even if we have flooding in South Bossier, you can escape to the Linear Bridge, formerly known as the Jimmy Davis Bridge.
Well, I say that, let's jump off to the police jury here and let's hear what they had to say or what was going on. It was item 19 on the agenda. Now, for a lot of you that ain't been in the loop, this discussion on this Jimmy Davis Bridge thing's been kind of chugging along for a little while now. There's been quite a bit of activity, and I would argue that not a lot of activity out in the public, but kind of, it wasn't like they were trying to hide it, but behind closed doors and jockeying, there's been a lot going on. And, but all of a sudden, the police jury, this thing kind of came to a head at the police jury. I think maybe Tom Sauser had a hand in that, hat tip to him. But I think we should just jump off on it and let's go with it.
Sure.
Remove it from the agenda.
Yeah. Thank you.
Item number 19, discussion of Jimmy Davis Lanier Park.
First of all, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address or have anything to say about the Jimmy Davis Park?
Now,
As if they didn't know.
So before we're going to have this discussion. It's on our agenda. We're going to have this discussion, and right out of the gate, we're going to put the public. Y'all got anything to say?
Yeah, that's a setup, dude.
Before we say anything? No, that wasn't pre-planned.
Right.
I'd like to ask Lisa Johnson to come up and give us some information.
Hopefully she has some great news. I'm hoping.
Wait, is she coming up there as a private citizen, or is she coming up there as representing the chamber?
Hi, Lisa Johnson, President of the Bossier Chamber of Commerce. Sorry I haven't seen you all for a while, but I'm glad to be back. I do want to share a piece of information that I just received as I was walking in the door, and it's just to add to the conversations that are going on, because I know people are kind of hit and miss on this Lanier Park, that we're either for or against it, and I know that we have a liability and maintenance and operation conversations and issues that all the municipalities are talking about. So I have spoken with the Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, and
Wait,
he
what?
has said, please let them know that the Lieutenant
You
Governor
heard her.
says that I'll be happy to take it as a state park if you think that is fit for this community, and we will take on the liability issues. And as we know, maintenance and operation is always an
wait a
issue.
minute,
but
pause
I
that
think
for a
it is most
second.
Definitely.
Did she just say, was I hearing that correctly? Folks, did y'all hear that? I know the volume's low. It's because the police jury's audio is terrible. That Billy Nungesser is going to take over the Jimmy Davis, now going to be called the Lanier Park Bridge? He's going to be busy between doing that and taking over the Cypress Park, too.
She just spoke on behalf of Billy Nungesser to say that he's going to take the bridge, turn it into a state park. She just said it.
She didn't say possibly or we're in discussions or he thinks. She said he was going to do it. If I heard that correctly, maybe I'm misquoting.
Do we need to play it again just to make sure? And
Yeah, why not?
Okay, let me go.
Don't get me wrong, I like Lisa. You know, in the whole tax deal of several years ago, we were on the same page.
Okay, here we go.
This is outstanding. We get a bridge park, and we're going to get a Cypress State Park, too.
Item number 19, discussion of Jimmy Davis Lanier Park.
First of all, is there anyone in the audience that would like to address or have anything to say about the Jimmy Davis Park?
Yes, I'd like to ask Lisa Johnson.
Yeah, nothing shady there.
Give us some information.
Hopefully she has some great news. I'm hoping.
Chamber's gonna take it over.
The chamber is not going to take it over. Hi, Lisa Johnson, President of the Bossier Chamber of Commerce. Sorry I haven't seen you all for a while, but I'm glad to be back. I do want to share a piece of information that I just received as I was walking in the door, and it's just to add to the conversations that are going on, because I know people are kind of hit and miss on this Linear Park, that we're either for or against.
She just received this information before she walked in the door.
So did Nungesser do a press release?
And people are hit and miss for the Linear Park. Are we clear? Is there any, are you confused at all, Rex?
I mean, it's pretty crystal clear to me.
Okay, here we go.
And I know that we have a liability and maintenance and operation conversations and issues that all the municipalities are talking about. So I have spoken with the Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser, and he has said, please let them know that the Lieutenant Governor says that I'll be happy to take it as a state park if you think that is fit for this community, and we will take on the liability issues. And as we know, maintenance and operation is always an issue, but I think it is most definitely a conversation that we could continue to have before any decisions are made when it comes to two-lane, 4-lane park, or what have you, since there are all these other conversations. So I just wanted to share that additional bit of information with you that we just got today. So I asked Stacy to stay because she's not, she didn't know either. And he said he's working very hard as the Lieutenant Governor for, who oversees our culture, recreation, and tourism, to connect all of our walking and biking trails throughout the state of Louisiana. Of course, that would do that for us here in Shreveport and Bossier, and have the largest connection of walking and biking trails in the U.S. here in the state of Louisiana.
As long as they're going to provide the Kevlar vest for the Shreveport side, what the heck. So, I remember hearing some...
Come on, Elon. Calm down. Don't be throwing shots at our brothers across the river now, okay?
Okay. I'm not going to ask for refunds, but...
Do you hear what she's saying? I mean, this linear park, think about this, guys. Let me frame this a little bit for you. We're going to connect Clyde Fant Parkway from the casinos at Clyde Fant. You could go park your car, get out, take off on Mo and Joe, jog all the way down to the Jimmy Davis Bridge, jog across, jog down the Bossier Parkway, all the way to Bass Pro Shop by way of this one big, huge trail.
Well,
That's what they're talking about doing.
And to complete the circuit, you could just come across the Bukowski Bridge down there. And, hey, I think George Bukowski did a great deal with the lights, but just think about that. Even in the evening time, you'd have a lighted bridge down there at the end to cross over. This is awesome. I'm never going to use it because I'm too lazy to run that far, but this is awesome.
Well, that's what they make bicycles for. And, we'll get you a bicycle.
Well, I'll run up and down the red. I'll run up and down the red in my boat and watch y'all while you're jogging and riding your bikes. I like horsepower.
Okay, but you heard her say, look, you heard her mention maintenance. There's this little thing called maintenance and upkeep and all those kinds of things. And it's a little bitty thing. Liability.
Well,
you heard her say he committed to taking liability.
But am I crazy, or don't I remember some folks, it seems like maybe in one of Cedric Glover's interviews or somebody, saying that to do this linear bridge was going to be somewhere, I want to say, was it the $30 million range? Am I crazy, or did I remember hearing that?
Well, I don't know that anybody's been able to quantify a number. I've been asking several people to give me a number, because if Billy Nungesser can say that the state of Louisiana will take this on and create a new state park out of it, obviously there's got to be knowledge of a cost. There's got to be some numbers. Somebody's got to know something. And I haven't been able to get the number. If anybody out there knows this number, maybe Lisa Johnson knows. I mean, I don't know, but she spoke on behalf of Billy Nungesser, saying that, hey, we got this, but let's jump off to Tom Salzer, the president of the police jury, because he follows back up on this thing. He ain't letting it go.
Well, let me read you this quote real quick, and then we'll hit play. So I'm reading from Keel. I just pulled it up on my phone, so I don't have it on screen, but I wasn't crazy. State Rep Cedric Glover talks about his opposition to the plan to turn the existing Jimmy Davis Bridge into a park at a cost of $30 million. I was right. Okay, now, whether Cedric's right or not, whether Big Ced's right or not, I don't know, but he did say $30 million.
Well, now, wait a minute. I think that is some old information, and I think maybe something has changed.
Yeah, it's about a month old, March the 28th.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think there's been some other shoes to drop since then, and that's going to get into some of the discussions that we had with some folks today. But let's go back to Tom Salzer, because Tom Salzer, I got to tell you, you guys, I think you South Bossier folks, you got a police juryman that's hitting on all cylinders down there, and hat tip to Tom. But let's let Tom, speak for himself. Here we go.
But I think it's definitely information that can be had for further discussion in meetings with all the partners here in town.
Okay, so let's go back.
Yes, sir.
On the operating cost and maintenance cost, he said he would.
I asked him that point blank. He said they definitely would make it a state park and take on the liability issues. I said the other concern is a maintenance of it. And he said, well, with maintenance, there are always issues with that, but we will figure that out. He said, but like if the local entities could like pick up the trash, empty the trash or something.
Oh, we'll be more than happy to pick up the trash.
You know, so I definitely think that it's a conversation to be had. I said, so can I tell them that you are going to be available and you are willing to sit down and have a conversation to see where we can move this in a positive direction if that's what everybody chooses to do.
That's
Welcome
good to
news.
hear.
Welcome news.
That there is a viable alternative. I set this forth at a while back and reiterated it at the meeting at the port. So I'm glad to hear that it's getting some legs, because the people of South Bossier have been promised a bridge for a long time, and the state, the governor, has been very good to us in Northwest Louisiana. But that was a very hard ask for the parish and the city to pick up the liability and the operating and maintenance costs. Everybody likes to have a part. We're certainly not necessarily against it, but we have limited budget
Absolutely.
money, and we have bridges in our system right now that are closed that we cannot open because we do not have the funds to open them.
Yes, sir. Completely
So
agree.
this was I will go down south if we need to talk to the lieutenant governor. He can come here. In fact, he's going to be here.
Well,
This is
anyway.
funny. Well, I got a question though. So, was Billy just driving through town or something, or was it he was at the Crew of Gemini parade in all that thunderstorm? He was throwing beads as fast as he could, and it was pouring down rain. He looked like a drowned rat up there, along with the rest of us at the parade. But anyway, did he see the Jimmy Davis Bridge and just come up with this great idea? How did this happen?
That is a great question. And in fact, if you go ahead and take control and go to cut one, and I think we might have the answer as to how this happened.
All right, let me switch over here. Let me get rid of these, and let me grab cut one, and let me bring this over.
Yeah, the question becomes, who actually got this done?
All right, now, you mean we have to say something good finally, or it's been a long time about Tommy? Let's read this. All right, so this looks like a text message from Mayor Tommy Chandler. Says, great news. The city and the police jury have been working with Billy Nungesser's office to take the Lanier Park. He has agreed to do it. It will be a state park. Sounds pretty definitive to me. The city will be responsible for none of the costs except for possibly garbage collection, which we would split with the parish. No construction costs, no maintenance costs, and a 4-lane bridge. I mean, this is like the best of all worlds.
It's freaking awesome. I mean, Tommy Chandler, say what you want, but apparently he got it done.
Yeah, who knew? And when he was out taking selfies, he had his cell phone out and he was on the phone with Billy Nungesser's office getting this deal done. I'm shocked.
Say what you want to say, but Tommy Chandler deserves credit for getting it done. I mean,
look, we're going to be as progressive as Austin, Texas before long with this linear bridge. See, it sounds progressive, a linear bridge.
I mean, look. You have got to give credit where credit is due. And,
yeah, I'm serious. Thanks, Tommy.
Tommy, good job. I mean, maintenance, the whole 9 yards, you got it all wrapped up. I mean, good job.
Look, I can even tie this to bass fishing, because once we get the bass tournaments, the really big ones coming back to the red and get some money generating, the wives and the spectators and all that will be able to enjoy the parkway and crossing the linear bridge. They can go over to Shreveport, see the all the sites over there and cross back over on the north end and go through the boardwalk and just walk their way all the way back down south.
I mean, they can go from one
Outstanding.
casino on Caddo, not have to cross Texas Street, go all the way to Jimmy Davis, and come back to a casino in
Yeah,
Bossier.
it's a win-win
Bass
for
Pro.
everybody.
You can get
I
you
did
some
not
new shoes, some
Look.
new running shoes after you wear those out at Bass Pro. Just get you a new pair.
Exactly. I did not think that Tommy had this in him to orchestrate and put all this together, but look, hey, give credit where credit's due. Good job, Tommy.
Good job, Tommy. So, running this thing down, now I got to tell you, have you heard of a company called HNTB?
HNTB. Well, no, apparently not. So,
Well, there was this email chain that kind of went around, and it makes, for everybody out there watching, I'm sorry that we have been ignoring you guys while we've been jabbering on about kind of what's been going on. We get in the mode sometimes. Sometimes y'all got to text us something that would just really grab us in the comments, but to get our attention. But what you need to know is this HNTB, it's this company,
and I'm getting it pulled up on the screen here in just a second, so keep right on going.
And how did HNTB come across our radar? Well, like we said prior to this police jury meeting, there's been a little bit of stuff kind of has been going on for some time. There's been some discussions. This thing's been chugging along about the Jimmy Davis Bridge stuff. And so, okay, that's the link to the website. That's HNTB.
Right.
They are some folks who, you see there, collaborates with clients to offer full service capabilities and advanced technology to the planning, design, and construction of.
Well, I got to tell you that if they turn the Jimmy Davis Bridge into that picture right there, I might actually walk across that sucker.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how they're going to get the Red River to look that gorgeous, but, miracles never cease.
Okay, we gotta stop and we gotta catch up on some comments because
Okay.
Greg Brown and the Villamarettes have been
Yes.
posting. We
So-
gotta kind of, we'll stop right there.
Okay, so let's see. How about the politics at its finest quote? How about that?
Yeah. So look, you've got to consider that, there is politics going on. I mean, politics drives every freaking thing. Yeah. Is there politics being calculated in the Jimmy Davis Highway Bridge project?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
It's
no
all
doubt about it.
They're literally all politicians. Therefore, it's political. But good point. And our good friend Barry Butler, former police juryman and former PEC member, or maybe no, former PEC member. Anyway, he says the annual maintenance is around $4 million per year.
Well, that is an amazing number. And who has $4 million a year for maintenance just laying around?
Well,
That's
I don't know.
another question.
But
while we're talking about politics,
tourism generated by the Lanier Bridge, just the name of it, sounds Austin, Texas-ish. That should hopefully generate the $4 million a year. Brandy Jones Faulting, hope I said the last name right. Yeah. Why did the city council act as if this was news to them?
Well, I will address that. I did reach out to multiple city council members and ask them about this thing, when Tommy Chandler put that out, and none of them knew anything.
Wait, Tommy didn't even tell the city council yet? Are we breaking news here, or almost?
Well, I'm just telling you that confidentially I got that none of the city councilmen that I talked to knew anything about it. But Tommy said the city had been working on it. I mean, but either way, so if Tommy did it on his own, good job solely to Tommy.
Taking the bull by the horns, or in this case, Billy Nungesser by the horns, and getting it done.
I mean,
all right. So let me circle back for a second. Greg Brown's comment kind of goes back to the flooding, but we are talking about the Jimmy Davis Bridge and, the river. He says, as to the flooding, has the water table been rising before the lock and dams were installed or after? Kind of same thing that I alluded to earlier. I know there's been historic flooding of the Red, but what about the water table? And the historic flooding of the Red, I would argue, is directly attributable to the Corps, but that's a whole other conversation. So I did want to get his comment in, though.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I wanted to come back to it, because he was still commenting on the flooding stuff, and we've done kind of moved along, and I hate that. I wish we could stop the show and go back to that, but it wouldn't be fair to everybody else. So anyway,
let's put this comment up. This is another one from Linda. She says, will the next lieutenant governor agree to all of this BS, and will we end up paying for all of this bridge crap that will end up being a major expense to Bossier City and Shreveport? All of a sudden, the Swallows have gone home. Surely we won't get stuck footing the bill. It never works that way, Linda.
Well,
and
we're gonna stay on top of that, and we're gonna go ahead and move forward with this project. So, HNTB, people are wondering, why are we talking about HNTB? Well, the fact of the matter is that HNTB in that email chain, and Rex, let's go ahead and I think we said just a minute ago, we came across. Wait a minute. Stop the presses. Lisa Friday Johnson just.
All right. Okay, so let me it's kind of a long comment, but that's fine. Lisa says, and thanks for joining, Lisa. Thanks for commenting. Says, hey guys, I was speaking with someone at the parish, and they said that they had heard that he would make it a state park. I said, you want to call him and confirm, or you want me to? So I called and finally made contact with the lieutenant governor, who's arrived at the police jury meeting. Therefore, what I communicated at the police jury meeting was accurate. I shared it after the meeting started, and the word got to the president. They asked me to speak. The ultimate goal is a new 4-lane bridge. Hey, we don't doubt that Billy told you that at all. I'm being only a little facetious. If we get a really cool-looking bridge out of that, I'm all for the tourism part of it.
Well, Lisa, since you're watching, would you confirm when all this was worked out and the timeline, on when it was done? When was this hatched out? When was it done? Can you confirm that for us? That's what we want to know.
Yes.
So, moving right along, HNTB and the email chain.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me get to the email chain here. So hold on, let me flip these screens around. I think if I click
and we'll come back to who HNTB is. I mean, they're a pretty big player and a pretty significant company with offices all across the country. Now, here begins an email chain from someone with Lisa's office at the Chamber of Commerce, and it is to Dusty, who is out of the Baton Rouge office of HNTB, talking about the proposed Lanier Park. And this is kind of going over some of the ideas of the old, when we say the Linear Park, we're talking about the old Jimmy Davis Bridge. Now, recall, what we're saying here is you're going to take Clyde Fant Parkway, so the jogging trail, you'd be able to jog from the casinos down there in downtown Shreveport, jog down to Jimmy Davis, cross the bridge, hit the Bossier Parkway, and keep on jogging all the way back down to Horseshoe.
Yeah.
You'd be able to full ride, baby.
All right, so Lisa also just commented. She said this is not finalized with all the details. There is much more to discuss, which includes the O&M, operations, and maintenance.
Well, I think, Lisa, the police jury committed to take the trash for maintenance.
Maybe they can get the good sheriff up there with some of the prisoners or folks in jail up there, and they can do the trash deal.
Well, he could hire a lot more deputies. I'm sure they would, could hire a lot of deputies to do a lot of different things. That seems to be a popular thing to do those jobs.
$30 an hour, 4-hour minimum.
Yeah. So anyway.
All right. Yeah. Moving on to the email. Here we go. So do you want me to read through some of this? Do you want to do some of the highlights, or what do you want?
Roll on with it. You're better and faster than me.
Okay. So Dusty, I've been talking to many locals on ideas for the proposed park. I'll share some of the ideas below. I've copied those who were in attendance, and there was a lot of folks copied on this email. I think regardless of the maintenance level, we need bike lanes going in each direction and a walking path going in each direction. Let's see. I think the lower level maintenance section is a baseline, and the additional levels are just additions or upgrades. If that makes sense, feel free to call or have someone call and discuss. Bike lanes through the middle. Can there be 3 maybe to make it as wide as the current lane for any emergency vehicles, potential food trucks. That's interesting too. I wonder what they're going to charge for food trucks to be up there. Anyway, with striping, middle as a passing lane. So we're going to have passing lanes too. Pedestrian walkways on each side with arrows pointing one way on one side and one way on the other so nobody gets lost. Solar lighting between the bike and pedestrian lanes to delineate which is which. Hopscotch board on one side. Now that actually does sound fun. I haven't played hopscotch since I was a kid. 4 square area painted on the walkway. Wonder if they're going to have cornhole. You know, there are cornhole tournaments. We've talked about this before. I wonder if they're going to have cornhole.
What if somebody throws their cornhole over the edge of the rail?
Well, that's why you got insurance and lawyers. I'm really getting excited about this. So, concrete benches, 2 trash receptacles on each end, metal work, outlines of the course of the Red River, maybe. That would actually be cool. Gates on either end that automatically open and close at set times. One can have a B-52 and the American flag metalwork. Awesomeness. Some sort of phone calling system in case someone does get left up there when the gates close or in case of emergency. Everybody's got a cell phone. They need to have charging ports along the bridge. Don't do the emergency phones. Do charging ports. There you go. Okay. Kaylee Larkin said. Kaylee Larkin says, "How are you going to get lost on a bridge?" And it's a linear bridge too, by the way.
Kaylee, are you saying this isn't going to be ADA compliant?
Gosh, Kaylee, that's kind of mean. We're trying to go along in the new spirit of niceness again. I'm restarting that concept here.
I can tell you for a fact, Tom Salzer said if it's not ADA compliant, he ain't having a damn thing to do with it. He's out.
He's out. Done.
He said it in the police jury. We got it on Restream. We can show it.
All right, so Lisa also confirms this is from her VP at the chamber. The locals have asked for maintenance cost, and the state says they cannot tell us the cost of maintenance till we share what we would like. Well, that makes sense. They requested low, medium, and high maintenance. We're going to have us a high maintenance linear park. She offered at the last meeting to gather ideas and submit to help move the process forward. Thank you again, Lisa, for giving us a little more insight into this process. Let's see. What else? We got parking at the base on both sides. Stop me whenever.
I think, I don't know if Jessica is her VP, but I think all of this is the ideas that Lisa's talking about right here that we're showing.
Yeah, medium maintenance, high maintenance, low maintenance, solar light poles, historic information signs, a description about the bridge. It starts on one side of the river, it arcs up and goes to the other. Perfect.
Now I specifically like the bungee jumping, you know.
Lisa, if y'all put bungee jumping on that bridge, I'm definitely 1,000% for it.
I'm freaking, if they got a bungee cord, I'm jumping off that daggum bridge. Now, the glass walkway, that just scares me. I ain't walking on no damn glass over the water of the Red River. I'm not doing it.
You know what? I may do that. Crazy. Come on, dude.
Tie a rubber band to me and I'll jump off, but I ain't walking out on no glass.
Hey, wait, I got an idea.
Ain't having none of it.
Instead of the Dunkin' booth down in the downtown area, they could do the dunking booth out over the river and stick you and I in it. How about that?
As long as they put the rubber band on me, I'm good. I can do that.
We'll have to be safe and have life jackets as we fly off the bridge. Anyway, mile markers along the route. Medium is above ideas, plus or minus. Instead of concrete, more traditional, just some way. Place for bushes, tall grasses along the edge of the park. Zigzag through the park. Highest maintenance ideas. Put on high heels. Here we go. Elevators to the top, glass versus traditional. There you go, Duke. If you want to ride the elevator up, you're riding in the glass. This is straight up Willy Wonka stuff.
Man, I'll just have to jog up there or ride up on my bike because I am out on glass, okay? You know, I can't do it.
Yeah, lots of infrastructure planners, etc. Push button arch sprinklers, kind of like the ones, I guess, first time I saw those at Six Flags. Was that to cool people off? Wait a minute, Lisa, you can't kill our fun here. Lisa says not high enough for bungee jumping. I bet you I'd beg to differ. That is high enough to bungee jump. You just use a shorter bungee. Okay. Don't kill our fun yet there, Lisa. We're behind this. Sound system for music and announcements. A shaded portion of the park. Yeah, I'm going to say the shade probably needs to even be on the lower one. We think this is most successful as a biking pedestrian area. Heck, I say they put a water slide up there on that thing. Can the walkways up to the bridge be more circular to help with the incline, or what would be the easiest route? Lots of 5Ks here and triathlons. Can there be a solar farm on the bridge to create a good amount of power so you can have the USB phone charging ports and you don't have to have the phone system up there? Look, we're not the only ones, Duke. Look right here. We have had people ask about zip lines and bungee jumping areas. Let me highlight this. We are not the only ones who have come up with that idea.
This is her VP that wrote this. Lisa's talking to us. She's saying no go on the bungee jumping, but her VP right there says zip lines and bungee jumping areas.
Majority rules. If we have, well, I'm not a member of the chamber, but if we have a vote in this, majority rules. So us and your VP overrides Lisa. How about that? Anyway.
Okay, well, look, no bungee jumping, and I don't know. It's doubtful whether I'm going to be there on this one.
I don't know, but I like the way Jessica thinks. Good job. So anyway, that's the highlights of the email. Now, we do have some comments, so let me roll through these. Let's see. ADA requirement or not, there is a clear difference between the banks. Larry James Hawkins says, how are the senior citizens who get winded easier climbing stairs going to get to the top? The elevator, the glass elevator. Might not prevent the heart attacks, but the glass elevator will keep them from getting winded. David Johnson says he is setting up a rental stand to rent slingshots to nail barn swallows. I'll be the first person to rent a slingshot from your stand there, David.
I'm in, David Johnson. Now
we're talking. Now we're talking. We're both in. Kaylee Larkin says golf carts or other street legal vehicles. They don't have to be street legal. This is not going to be a public street. It's now a park. They don't have to be street legal, Kaylee. Think creatively here. Our good friend.
I can see Louisiana Power Sports. They're rigging up already.
Oh, yes. I need to go by there in the next couple of days anyway and get some oil for my boat. I'll mention that to them. Barry Butler, grand idea. Water park with a slide from the top. I'm in on that one too. And Harlan Hughes says whitewater kayak park in the river. All right, Harlan, how are we going to get the whitewater? Because I promise you it's going to really end up being brown one way or the other. But that's okay. I'm all for the kayaking too. Let's see. What else? Lisa says you should be a member. We should actually set up a legitimate business for Bossier Watch and join the chamber under Bossier Watch.
Kaylee Larkin says not tall enough for bungee. I don't know if I should take offense to that or not. I mean, is she hitting at you or is she hitting at me?
I'm pretty sure somebody that's good enough might could wingsuit off of there. What's that guy that's really good at the wingsuiting? We need to get him there at the grand opening.
She obviously did not watch our last show, and the fact that if you're around 5'5", you're a normal human being. If you're like over 5'5", almost 6 foot, you're a freak. And if you're over 6 foot, you're a super freak. She obviously missed that educational moment on our show.
Providing education to the public for the last year and a half. Kaylee Larkin says she would like to be David Johnson's business partner.
And for the record, for folks who think jumping off the bridge is a wise idea, just so you know, most of the time they stick in the mud at the bottom.
But wait a minute, nobody.
Just wanted you to know.
The jump's not what hurts you. It's always the landing, and that's what the bungee jump. It's to yank you right before you hit the mud. It's to yank you out of it. David Johnson says he will donate his heavy profits to pay for a charter commission. Look at there, Duke. This is solving all kinds of problems thanks to Tommy Chandler and Billy Nungesser's office.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take a political shot here at Lisa Johnson. Maybe the chamber could weigh on our mayor of Bossier to do what he promised when he ran for mayor. That is to have a charter commission, term limits, and audit of the city. Maybe the chamber could help us out with that rather than planning bungee jumpers. Yeah, I know, right there. I just killed the moment. Wait
a minute. Hold on a second. Greg Bell's got something interesting. What is the lowest bungee jump? The shortest bungee cord is 30 centimeters. That's 11 inches long and is used regularly for bungee jumps off a ledge 13 foot 1.48 inches off the ground at the Gilligan's Backpackers Resort in Cairns, Australia from February 26 to July 26. See there, Lisa? If they can jump off a 13 foot, I know the Jimmy Davis Bridge is taller than that. It can be done.
But wait a minute, Rex. I got to play devil's advocate here. They only did it from February to July. Why did they stop? Were people dying from 13-foot falls? Obviously, there was a hiccup in that giddy up there. I don't know what it was, but
Photoshop, here I come. We're doing bungee jumping off the Jimmy Davis Bridge. We're fixing to promote. We're going to make T-shirts for that.
if I don't get to bungee jump off that bridge,
wait, look.
Johnson,
This is working.
It's your fault.
Our coercion is working. She says, okay, I stand corrected on bungee jumping. Let's make it happen. The Chamber of Commerce is for bungee jumping off the Jimmy Davis Bridge. You saw it here first, folks.
Bungee jumping or bust. If there ain't no bungee jump, you know what? When Nungesser comes on here, we're going to make him commit. If it's a state park, by gosh, we got to have bungee jumping.
Bungee jumping.
Bossier watches against it.
And not just that. Billy needs to jump with us.
Moving right along, David Johnson says, thanks, guys. And Kaylee Larkin says, David Johnson, I would like to be your business partner. You've already posted that already.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not distracting good enough. I got to go back to
You were distracted by Billy doing the bungee jump with us. Come on, Duke.
You know what? We will ask Billy, because he's committed to come on the show, and we're trying to work out the scheduling. And, we'll see. David Johnson's talking about sunblock and flip-flops.
Yeah.
Ooh, he just gave me an image in my mind.
Yeah. My mom says, I had forgotten about that. What about the one in Branson at the Outback, Rex? How tall was that? I think that one was only 40 foot. I mean, it really wasn't that tall when we jumped off of that one. And yes, it was a legitimate bungee jump. I didn't find some tower by the Outback and take a cord with me and do it.
Okay, so.
All right, enough of bungee jumping. We got.
Yeah, enough of bungee jumping.
I'm just excited about that.
Well, next I'm thinking about the water slides in bikinis and thongs. Now, I mean, who's going to write those rules? Anyway,
I'm not commenting on that. Keep going.
No Tucker Carlson tonight. Anyway,
yeah.
So. HNTB. So you got the chamber spill. They've already been figuring out all these ideas. Tommy Chandler made it all happen, and we done got the chamber spill. What all could go there? And so we showed. Did we show that email chain earlier? Yeah, we showed it.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we reached out to HNTB. So who are they and what exactly is their role? Well, HNTB is this company. They're kind of like engineer company or what have you. They do a ton of things. Well, apparently the state of Louisiana, for folks that are interested and want to know what the most latest is on this project, they were contracted by the state of Louisiana to write up all of the proposals to write up all the documentation, the procurement documents, or what have you. And that is their role. That fella Dusty that was in that email spoke to him today, and they've been working on this. And the documents that they are writing are the procurement documents for the state for the construction of a 4-lane bridge and refurb on the old 2-lane bridge.
So these would be the guys, potentially, that would design our bungee jump, right?
Well, they're not going to be the guys that design the bungee jump. They're just writing up the documents for the state to be able to submit it for requests.
Oh.
And now this is going to be a design build project. And what that means is that you're going to have like a company that will, make a design, and then they'll have a contractor with them, or they may be a turnkey shop to where they do the construction themselves, but they will make a presentation to the state with a design and a proposal to construct the project that they propose to DOTD. And how all that will be procured, HNTB is writing all the documents for that as we speak. So, in having this conversation with the guy, I mean, you would have thought we would have heard this from some of our elected officials already, and maybe in some places they've already had this discussion. I'm sure Lisa Johnson would say, "Oh, wait a minute, yeah, we had a meeting a week ago, and or whatever." I think at the port probably they heard that. But so, what kind of a timeline, or what are we talking about here? Timeline wise, a RFP, according to Dusty down there, is going to be sought this summer. They're actually going to have the paperwork done, Rex, and they're going to request proposals starting this summer. And according to him, the estimated timeline for a start construction date for the new bridge would be sometime in early of 2023.
Soon.
Yeah, very soon.
And if it's, and that design build process is supposed to speed up the timeline to get to the goalpost, and that the term that they used for the Barksdale interchange over there is a design build type thing, and they getting that thing done in record time. They still don't have a gate, but that's beside the point. So
now I offered some advice to the guy. I said, you're participating in writing these documents, right? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, look, I said, can I give you a little bit of 2 cents? He said, sure, by all means. And I said, well, look, don't let the Bossier Parish Police Jury give you any advice on building a bridge. just don't go there.
Not
at
all.
Don't go there, because they got a bridge they started over a year ago, and it's probably not going to be done before y'all finish this bridge. And I'm just saying, you might not ought to go there. And he took it under advisement. But anyway, so hey, they're saying that the construction of this 4-lane bridge, they're talking about maybe 3 to 4 years. That's how long they're saying it's going to take.
Wait. Oh, okay. So that's the new bridge and refurbing the existing bridge and adding our bungee jumping platforms and the glass elevator.
Nope. Hold up. Don't get carried away. We're not going to be bungee jumping in 3 to 4 years.
All we're going to do is tie a bungee strap up there.
No, we're not bungee jumping in 3 to 4 years, Rex. Look, these guys, they got a process. Okay. So they're hoping to start construction of the new 4-lane, next year, right? Early next year. And when they start, it's going to take 3 to 4 years, assuming the contractor that's doing the Cypress Black Bayou Bridge isn't doing it, but 3 to 4 years. And then, upon completion of that, then they'll be able to get the traffic off of the old bridge, move it over to the new bridge. Then you'll have a bridge to refurbish to do bungee jumping off of.
I'm going to be like Jack LaLanne by then. I'm going to be bungee jumping when I'm in my 70s at that point.
Well, I am too, but who cares? You got to die somehow, some way. I mean, I'm confident I'm gonna outlast Tommy Chandler and David Montgomery. So
I just got to tell you that they're going to have to expedite that project, because Kaylee and Larkin and David Johnson, they're already getting their master plan going. They're ready to go apply for an alcohol permit. They're already setting pricing for armbands. I mean, somebody's got to hurry up.
Hey, that reminds me, Squirrel, got to get off on this real quick, because you just popped it in my head. Okay, Tinsley Ball Field.
I'm laughing at the comments, sorry.
I know you are, and I hate to kill your moment. Do you remember us talking about Tinsley Ball Field and the mysterious, like big SUV party wagon or whatever you want to call it, motorhome that was parked out there in 2 weeks? Hey, the owner of that party wagon or whatever, he messaged me and said, hey, look, I saw on your show that, you guys were talking about that there's this, big motorhome parked out at Tinsley. He said, just so you know, I'm the actual guy that does the catering or the vending out there, selling hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff. And he said that was a part of my contract was I could park my motorhome out there so that I had an office and a place for my employees to be able to go and take their break and cool off, relax, and all that. He said because it gets real busy out there and stuff. So
Really? So we're almost like the Hardy Boys now.
I guess, but hey, I got to tell you, that was I appreciate, and I'm sorry I don't have my notes right here in front of me, and I wasn't prepared to raise that issue, but it popped in my head. I wanted to point that out. I mean, appreciate him reaching out to clarify what that was. I just wish one of our elected officials from Bossier would have clarified that.
Look, folks,
I know,
I want y'all to share this around on this one show. We've already got bungee jumping. We've got approval and backing from the Bossier Chamber of Commerce on the bungee jumping. I mean, we've already discovered that Nungesser is going to take over the whole thing. We're going to have a glass elevator. We're going to have bracelets, and we're going to have all kinds of things going on this bridge. And we've solved the mystery of who the RV was at Tinsley Park, all in one show. We've done it in an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes.
yeah, I mean, I particularly like the fact that Lisa Johnson and Chamber is not going to be in support unless we have bungee jumping. Is that right?
Yes, that's what I heard. Y'all heard her say it too, folks.
Did y'all hear it? Did everybody else watching the show? Is that what y'all understood?
It's in the comments. It's live, no takebacks. All right. Okay, so yeah, enough about the bungee jumping. I'll hush for about 3 minutes on it.
So a next question that folks may be, I mean, look, this HNTB folks, I mean, they're I mean, I don't know, we don't know who the design contractors are going to be just
but
yet,
that doesn't matter because Wayne said, so who the hell is HNTB and what politician is tied to them? Now, Wayne, surely.
Yeah, look, I will tell you that they are so big that I suspect that I looked at their thing. I think they got an office damn near in every major city in the country. They definitely have an office in Baton Rouge. And I got to tell you, upon talking to this cat, I think he was an engineer. One of the most forthcoming individuals that I've spoke to in a long time when you call somebody up out of the blue asking questions. I tell you, this Dusty guy, if you're a government agency wanting somebody to articulate on your behalf, that's the freaking guy you need to hire because I got to tell you, he could sell ice cream to Eskimos. He had me sold and it was good.
Interesting.
The next question a lot of folks may have, where's this new bridge going to be built? Has anybody asked that or anybody wondered that? What about you, Rex?
Well, I just assumed, but we all know how dangerous that word is, that it was going to be like, right north or right south of the existing bridge. But I guess nothing else, no other thought occurred to me about where they might put the new bridge. I mean, they got to try to tie it into, what's the official highway? Isn't that a state highway?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It's going to be 30 foot north of the old one.
Oh, well.
So
Okay.
it's right there, but it's going to be on the north side. I mean, but that's an interesting. I mean, a lot of people
there you go,
wanted
folks.
to know.
The north side, not the south side of Bossier. It's going to be north of Jimmy Davis. Told y'all. That's a subtle.
right.
That's a subtle hint right there.
It's all about North Bossier. See, because if it was about South Bossier, it'd be built on the south side. So,
That's right.
Sobo, y'all getting left out again. It's on the north side.
Where's future Mayor Gallman when we need him to take care of this problem? But I can't say that yet. I might vote for Tommy for re-election because he got this done. All right.
I don't know. He hadn't told us to shut up yet. I know that he would like to tell us to shut up, but he told some citizen to shut up or something along those lines tonight at the Republican Women, I'm understanding. And I just don't know how well that went over.
What's the meme for that? What's the meme for that? Dear baby Jesus, please let there be a video of Tommy Chandler telling somebody to shut up. Amen.
Oh, I'm sure the video will be coming. One term Tommy. It ain't Tahoe Tommy. It's one term Tommy.
All right.
But anyway, so what is it with bridges? I mean, we got to go back to this Cypress Bridge. And I know y'all are tired of us droning on about the Cypress Bridge. Oh my gosh, will they quit talking about it? Well, you know what? A lot of us that live up here in Nobo on the north side of the Cypress Bridge, we're pissed off about this bridge and we're tired of people pissing on our leg.
Hey, I've only had to go up that way a few times, and I'm pissed off about that bridge.
So let's start off. We're going to run through a bunch of cuts here, Rex. So I spent a little bit of time on this. So did you know that the Bossier Parish Police Jury, I think it's a Bossier Parish Police Jury, but there is like an engineer report, and they did some soil samples. They did some soil testing. And look, again, when we talked about this bridge project before, we said to everybody, it's just like the Cypress District. You don't have to live in Benton for this kind of thing to affect you. You can live anywhere in the parish. In fact, you can live anywhere in the state, because you can't tell me that this same crap doesn't go on all over the state. In fact, all over the country. But
well, and not just that. Look, let's face it. It's not like our benevolent overlords sit there and separate the North Bossier tax dollars from the South Bossier tax dollars. It's everybody's tax dollars for the most part.
Yeah, exactly right. So, cut to, in 2017, there's this, the engineering report. And in this report, they were asked to do 2 borings, you see there, B1 and B2, and do some testing on the roadway proximal to, and you see it was Fort and Tablati, or however you pronounce that, on the Linton Road, proximal to the bridge on both the north side and the south side. And if you go to cut 3,
all right, let me get that one pulled up here real quick. Do a little drag and drop in there, and let's make it a little bigger so maybe some of us can read it. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not sure on which page this is, but if you'll scroll down to the highlighted part, and you see the B1 and B2. B1 is obviously on the north side of the bridge, and you see B2 is on the south side of the bridge. And on the north side of the bridge, you see there that the composition was 8 inches of asphaltic concrete paving, 5 inches of cement treated base, 4 inches of sandy clay, and 9 inches of gravel subbase. 9 inches of gravel, 5 inches of cement treated. That means soil cement. But on the south side...
Now let's briefly explain what soil cement is. That's basically the stuff that they take out there, and I guess after they maybe compact the soil some a little bit, our construction buddies could clarify this. They put a mixture of some stuff. It's like a powdery stuff that's basically cement that mixes with the soil and becomes like a cement base. Is that a very basic very basic summary of what it is?
And you can use it as a substitute to gravel for your sub base is my kind of understanding of construction. I'm not a contractor, but had a contractor license at one time, took the test. I was good at taking tests, but that's neither here nor there. It's a whole nother story. But what's interesting is on the south side of the bridge. That's what's interesting.
Those numbers look bigger.
Well, they look bigger, but you see you've got one less line. On the top line, you got 5 inches of cement treated base and 9 inches of gravel sub base. And then you see down here on the bottom, 10 inches of sandy clay and gravel base.
Well, asphaltic concrete paving, 10 inches asphaltic concrete, and then 10 inches of sandy clay and gravel base. And I'd like to point out our good friend David Womack says lime and Portland mixed in with a big old tiller. So that would be soil cement.
That's right. But the point is, and David Womack, you will see that on the south side, there's no soil cement in there. You see all that's reported here is 10 inches of sandy clay and gravel base. That's all you see.
And
right?
To be clear, this is, and I don't have a map pulled up, but let's refresh everybody's memory on where this is located.
This is the south side of the Linton Road Bridge.
Okay.
That's where this is. It's on the south side.
Okay.
Now remember those numbers and go to cut 4 of 2017.
All right. So
and in this same report, you've got the engineering firm, they're talking about the importance. So all of y'all out there, everybody in Louisiana, our biggest gripe is about roads, right? We're always complaining about roads, and that the insurance, our insurance is high because of our roads, and our repairs on our vehicles. It's because of our roads. People don't want to come to our state because our roads. I mean, it's a big problem. So the same engineering firm, they make a point right here. The importance of good drainage cannot be overemphasized. Construction of the pavement should only be attempted when this subgrade is dry and stable, and after good and positive drainage have been established throughout the construction area. If they're not well drained prior to and during construction, pumping may occur, which would inhibit proper compaction of the flexible asphalt pavement base subbase. So basically they're saying that anywhere in the process, if you go getting rain or it gets wet and you go continue on with this project, it's going to fall apart.
Okay.
Is that so? If you want to go ahead and gin up that next police jury meeting and replay, we want to take y'all back down memory lane just a little bit.
Okay.
And you're gonna have to travel back to last year, about December 15th of 2021. And Glenn Benton, I mean, I like Glenn. Glenn has been a builder for a while, and Glenn asked he asked a really amazing question, and want you guys to hear the answer that he got when he asked a particular question. And ironically, he's talking about Linton Road, between the Linton Road Bridge and the bridge just down the road. He's talking about where the soil sample was taken, is where he's talking about.
Interesting. So 571338. You want me to click it, or you want to
go ahead?
It? All right, let's see.
Go ahead.
Let me scroll down here. 57. Oh, come on, Rex. Here we go. All right. Fire in the hole.
Eric, back on the Linton Road, where that road fell, we redid that road about 10 years ago, and it just completely fell apart. What did we find out when they reworked? Did we just not have good soil cement, or what happened?
Which road are you referring to? Did you mean Linton Road between the two bridges?
Between Parks Road, I guess it's where we replaced it in, two bridges. Between the two bridges.
Okay, so I don't know what's going on. We took soil boring, and then there's some, there's soil cement there. I just think we have a lot of it was wet, and there's some.
I realized it was winter time. We opened the road back up, but that road fell within a couple of years.
Well, it has a tremendous amount of traffic, and it's got some fat clay underneath it. But we've gone in while there's no traffic and dug out all the spots that have.
Here's what I imagine is the teenage boys, and gosh, Dad, we don't know how that got torn up. We're not really sure who did it. Maybe our brother did it.
So, soil cement. Now, the one boring we just saw right there, it didn't have any soil cement. Zero. Nothing. Nada.
Yeah. Let me go back to that. Let's see. Which cut was that? Was that cut? Let me go back.
Cut three.
All right,
Cut
hold
three.
On. Let me get back over there. Let me pull it back up. So, folks, y'all just heard that meeting from December the 15th. And let's go back to cut 3 and again look at
right
the
there,
north. Yeah, the north side, and then look at the south side. What is missing from the south side?
Now that doesn't mean that soil cement is it. That doesn't mean it's it on everything. That it's what you should have. But on the north side there, you see sandy clay. I mean, I guess according to the engineer guy, fat clay is sandy clay, because obviously that's what these engineers in this sample, had found. Sandy clay means fat clay, according to him. And here, 10 inches of sandy clay and gravel base. In the north side, 5 inches of cement treated base, 4 inches of fat clay, and 9 inches of gravel subbase. So Glenn Benton's asking him there, what happened? Because it fell apart like
Within a couple of years. That's what he
within
said.
a couple of years. And I don't know that I actually really heard a good answer.
There was a lot of traffic.
He said there was soil cement there, but right here you don't see it in this test.
So let's go back and let's play that again. So give me a second. Let me flip back over there. And I'm going to get us queued up here. And let me switch screens here. And let's listen to that one more time, folks.
Eric, back on the Linton Road, where that road failed, you know, we redid that road about 10 years ago, and it just completely fell apart. What did we find out when they reworked? Did we just not have good soil cement, or what happened?
Which road are you referring to? Did you mean Linton Road between the two bridges?
Between Parks Road, I guess it's where we replaced it in,
Two bridges.
between the two bridges.
Okay, so I don't know what's going on. We took soil borings, and then there's some. I mean, there's soil cement there. I just think we have a lot of it was wet, and there's.
I realized it was winter time. We opened the road back up, but that road failed within a couple of years.
Well,
Y'all heard it, folks. So maybe he meant there was soil cement on the north side.
Maybe so, and I would argue that, okay, I lived up here during that, and what I can tell you is that there was a point where they were putting soil cement down. I saw it, but it was way back closer to Bossier on that end. And what I will also tell you is that there were, Kaylee Larkin right here, rainy conditions. Yes, it rained, and it made a big mud pit. And guess what? They hurried the project up, and there was another factor involved in this, and they cut a corner, and they sped the project up, and we were left with a road that was all falling apart. But either way, he just told them, you know, there's soil cement there. It's not right here. But either way, what isn't debatable is the fact that the road started falling apart. Okay.
Yeah, one way or the other.
So fast forward to today, and fast forward to the planning of the Linton Road Bridge and this project up here. And let's go to cut 5.
Okay. Cut 5 is inbound. Let me get to move little things around here. Hold on just a second.
Now, at that April 20th police jury meeting, you know, Philip Rogers, he in the meeting before that, he kind of got on the engineer a little bit, and he was kind of, I don't know, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he was a little rude to him, and he basically apologized to the engineer. And he was saying, you know, I know you do a good job, and I know y'all doing a good job. I mean, he was trying to cheer him up and pat him on the back. And I ain't saying that he's doing anything nefarious or he's a bad guy. I'm not saying that at all. But in some posts today, you know, Philip was talking about how he hadn't been a police juryman, but for a couple of years, and arguably so, that's correct. But talking about this Linton Road project, right here, you see the plan in hand, November 28th, 2018. These are actually the handwritten notes of the plan in hand meeting. We zoomed in on the handwritten notes of who was present. And as you can see, you know, kind of over here on the left, you see Wanda Bennett, you see Doug Rimmer, you see Bill Altimus, you see Eric Hudson, Bump Skaggs, and Bruce Easterly. You know, Butch Ford, they were all representatives of the parish that were present at the plan in hand meeting that day. Go to the next cut 6.
Right, so let's go to cut 6 here. Let me drag that one over. And we'll position that. Okay, there we go.
And typically in a plan in hand meeting, you know, they make notes on some of the, you know, major parts of the project and decisions when they deal with the stakeholders. You know, they make a determination of what specific entities want, what they don't want, and the decisions made. And you can see item 15 here. Is everyone satisfied with the proposed structure? Meaning the type of structure, the way the plans are designed, and you see there was no objections.
Yes.
I would point out that one of the things we saw, there was an issue pertaining to the guardrails, but we're not going to get off in that. We're going to stay on this soil, cement, and crushed base. And you jump over here to the right and you see item 25, proposed base material, crushed stone. Now, Rex, I got to tell you, that puts a question mark in my mind, because how did we go from the proposed base material of being crushed stone to soil cement, and they're not putting crushed stone on the bridge? Is that just the approaches, or is that the roads themselves? I don't know. I kind of got some questions there. Move on to cut 7.
All right, cut 7 inbound. Let's get over here. Let me get rid of this cut, and let's make this one a little bigger so people can see. New structure cast in place or precast. And, well, for those of you listening, they scribbled through precast.
They scribbled through precast. And the reason that I'm pointing that out is because at that most recent police jury meeting, Philip Rogers made the comment that people think that they can read a contract or not read a contract. Guys, I'm just wondering, this is the Stupid Show, and so we are your Stupid Show hosts, so that must mean that we are exponentially stupid. I think I'm reading that correctly. Perhaps you guys, do you read it the same way we read it? It says new structure cast in place or precast, and somebody squiggled lines through precast, which means that they had a discussion at the site. The majority of the people there were members of your police jury, and the determination was made that it would be cast in place and not a precast structure, which means that the bridge decking would have been pre-made at another location and ready for the project when they were ready to, put it together, or it would be actually the concrete trucks will roll up and pour it in place at the location. So somebody made that decision. Somebody had input.
Yeah.
But again, we can't read plans, so I don't know if that might be Russian for all I know.
Yeah, who knows? And well, I'll continue on in the spirit of niceness attempt. All right, what's next?
Let's go to cut 8. So in 2022, we're going to fast forward to here, March 24th of 2022. And as you can see here, the senior vice president of Fort and Tablati, I can't pronounce that. Is it Tablati or whoever it is?
Tablata, I don't know.
Yeah, and they send this email to Eric Hudson. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll read it because the font's a little small for y'all to see on the screen. So sends it to Eric Hudson. Says, Eric, please see the revised pavement section attached to this message. We have removed the soil cement subbase as the site conditions encountered do not require it. We propose to replace the 12 inches of soil cement with 4 inches of stone base and 8 inches of select fill. Since the structural number for the soil cement layer was not used in the original pavement design, the structural number of this revised section exceeds the structural number stated in the project's geotechnical report. This report is attached, and you can find the pavement section recommendations on page 11. Let us know should you have any questions. Thanks, Jordan Pearson.
And what did the parish say?
Well, let's take a look. I'm going to guess that will be the next cut.
So 12 inches of soil cement for 4 inches of stone and 8 inches of fat clay.
Well, that still equals 12 inches. Anyway, so Eric Hudson, so I'm guessing I've got the correct email, right, Duke?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So Eric Hudson says, and this was to DeMarcion Evans with the state of Louisiana, says, as requested by W.L. Bass in an effort to speed this project up and streamline the construction process. Speed it up and streamline. Please see the engineer of record's recommendation below. Soil cement in this application is not very user-friendly, and as stated below, isn't required. Obviously, they will need to perform whatever cost savings change order that you require. The parish is okay with this change and believes this is an adequate pavement section for the traffic in the area. Highlighted, we just completed a project 2 miles away with a 5.5 inch of asphalt and 12 inches of rock. Thanks, Eric Hudson, Bossier Parish Police Jury.
So, 2 miles away, we're putting 12 inches of rock. We're okay with getting rid of 12 inches of soil cement for 4 inches of rock and 8 inches of fat clay. And we already know from history that at a cut 3 that 5 inches of cement treated base on the north side and a mix of 10 inches and sandy clay gravel on the south side fail and fall apart. But we're okay with...
And that's not us saying over here on the Stupid Show, which I don't let many people get by calling me stupid, but over here on the Stupid Show, wasn't us saying that. It was actually the police jury saying that.
Yeah,
that it failed.
So, us here on the Stupid Show, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's true. We're not engineers, and Philip Rogers may be right that we can't not read English on a set of plans. But I'm reading these numbers, and I think I know what a rock is, and I think I know what soil seam is, and according to the parish engineer, I think I know what fat clay is. And I'm just wondering, if it didn't work the last time you overlaid it, and you had a police juryman articulating that it failed in such a short period of time and wanted to know why, and I don't know that you got a complete answer, what makes us think that it's not going to fail in a short period of time again? We may be wrong, Rex. I mean, we may be just deaf, dumb, and stupid. Maybe Philip Rogers can come on here and technically explain it to us. But you know what? He was out picking trash up on the trash day. He was out picking trash up.
Look,
that's all that matters.
We would have to defer to Philip's expertise. He is a construction guy after all, even though he is there, of course, to represent his constituents, as he reminded us earlier. But he is a construction guy, so he is welcome to come on the show and explain to us what the difference is, why it's going to be a good luck of the draw this time. All right.
Well, 2 miles away, they're putting 12 inches of rock, but you know what? I guess we're going to have to, everybody up here, you're going to have to settle for 4 inches that are going to have to be repaired in just a short period of time.
Well, yeah, and remember, they're doing that to speed the project up and streamline the construction process. Speed it up and streamline. Those are always great words when the government uses them.
Now, I want to clarify something. I want folks to understand something, because look, I called and talked to an engineer, and I kind of asked them some questions, and they actually said that, look, rock is not always bad rather than soil cement. They said the truth of the matter is having a rock base is actually better than having soil cement, because soil cement, is going to give out sooner than what a rock base would. And so, but I think, I didn't ask them, well, what would be the minimum amount of rock that you would have to have, because I think that's where you get into the nitty gritty is that, okay, 2 miles away they're putting 12 inches of rock, but right up here next to the bridges they're putting 4 inches of rock. Okay, so obviously the difference between 4 inches of rock and 10 or 12 inches of soil cement, I mean, I don't think you're comparing apples to oranges. The other thing, and I acknowledge this as well too, engineer said that, look, cast in place doesn't have the lifespan that, or precast doesn't have the lifespan that cast in place does. And I was like, well, what kind of a time frame are you talking about? And they said, well, generally a precast is good for about 50 years, whereas a cast in place will be 75 years or more. I'm like, well, I'm not going to be alive in 50 years. I don't freaking care. I need to get to my house now. I don't freaking care.
How long did the first bridge last? I forgot when it was built. 50s or 60s?
It was precast.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact too.
Okay.
So off the bridge, enough on the bridges. But I don't know. Anybody want to take bets that Jimmy Davis is finished before the Cypress Black Bayou Bridge is done?
Bets, please. We did offer, and that offer still stands. I need to come up with what we're going to do, T-shirt or coffee mug, whoever got the closest to the completion date, something like that. I got to do us a video, and we got to actually advertise that.
I think we still have plenty of time. Hey, look, somebody I saw on Bentontown Happenings or somebody was talking about they had talked to somebody associated that was an employee with the contractor or something or another, and they were talking about the project and saying that they were laughing about the bridge being completed in August. Wasn't going to happen. Wasn't no way.
Well, as we begin to wrap up the show, let me kind of resize this, and I'll make it a little bigger so we can all read this, folks. So bear with me here. I'm doing this on the fly. I just want you to know as we wrap up the show that there are some folks that are tired of it, and I'm pretty sure they might legitimately have their pitchforks and torches ready. You see Debbie Meyer Gag here says, with the bridge being out, the residents of this town have been tolerant long enough, and we have several months to go. I hope others agree that the roads we must use need to be safe. I'm specifically talking about Linton Cutoff. We have tolerated the terrible patch job on this road, but at least paint yellow and white lines on it so the road can be seen in the dark. Is this too much to ask? Who do we ask? I'm sure someone on here has a connection. Please and thank you in all caps for emphasis. So, they've been tolerant enough, Duke, and they want their yellow lines now.
Well, the patch jobs on the road, I mean, we covered the why you have patch jobs on the road. I mean, and I don't know what else to say about that. I mean, Glenn Benton tried to go there. I don't know that Glenn Benton got the whole story. You know what? I would love if, I'm sure that Philip Rogers will hear about this show because he talks about it at the police jury meeting. I mean, he doesn't, we call him out and we'd say his name point blank, but you know, I don't know if it's courteous of him that he doesn't say our name at the police jury meeting, but Philip, why don't you ask and send them to us? Why don't you ask for the additional soil borings from the engineer that have been done, if there are any other than the two that we just presented? That's what I want to know. You know, yeah, you weren't a police juryman, so it's not on you. If a corner was cut on the Linton Road between the bridges on the quantity and construction with the soil cement, you as a police juryman, for everybody up here, you should be able to get that answer without any problem.
And
we get emails telling us what the real answer is, and I lived up here. I know kind of what happened, but I'm just wondering, you on the inside, get the soil borings and present them to the public.
Well,
we'll put them on the show.
I just want to point out that Philip does point out right here that he has only been a police juryman for 2 years and 4 months, so he can't speak to anything from just a mere 4 years ago. Newsflash, when you decided to run for office and won and accepted the office, you accepted the responsibility of your district, including stuff before it happened. That doesn't mean that you're responsible for it, but it means you accepted the responsibility of dealing with it. So,
yeah, and to the folks in Benton and to the folks affected by this, and to the folks affected by any, bad politics or government, I mean, look, don't be bashful about demanding that your government provide you a good service. If they budget for you to have 12 inches of soil cement from one end of a road to the other, don't haggle. They need to do it right, and you need to demand they do it right. And don't let them wag the dog at you and you deserve better. It's your tax dollars. Don't let them screw with you. Don't take it. Don't worry about being nice. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
Soapboxes.
Yeah, I could go on. Bossier School renewal before we close the show
yeah.
out. Rex, are we going to go there?
Let's just mention it real quick, and then it's going to be supper time for me because I'm about to starve.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody watching, I mean, some of you know, some of you have been getting taxes. We know a little bit about that, about some folks promoting it. Of course, all the Bossier school system is promoting it, but hey, they've got 3 renewals on the ballot. And they've made a point. All of the school board members and the school system have promoted the fact that it is, in fact, just renewals. And to, our assessment, that is, in fact, correct. It's basically renewals. But people are kind of sending us some questions. And for an example, one person this week sent us something. They said, look, y'all were saying that this is just a renewal. And we said, yeah. And they said, well, but here's the deal. My property is going to be reassessed. And in fact, in one case, somebody actually sent us some numbers. They said, if these renewals pass, or if these renewals were to fail, their tax would go down by $2,000 a year. And I was like, yeah, but then you kind of basically wouldn't have any school system. And then they said, yeah, but in 2024, my property is going to be reassessed. And with inflation, it's probably going to go up that much. So this isn't a renewal, And
well, look, let me play devil's advocate here. And again, we've made it abundantly clear that on the tax increase attempt back in 2019, staunchly opposed to that. But the inflation is not just on the side of the property owners and taxpayers. It's also on the side of the school board. The school board is going to experience the inflation as well in their expenses. So, it's not like the school board gets to freeze what the value of everything they need to purchase and all that. They don't get to freeze that with inflation. The inflation affects them as well. So I hate to play devil's advocate here for taxes, but you got to look at both sides of the coin too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is folks have to ask themselves. They've got to say, okay, one, do I think that the existing school system model is that effective? Is that what we want? That's a question, but that's not about this debate. It is what we have now. It is what we're going with. And does inflation affect them? But the question is what exactly does it take to operate, a public school system? What is that budget?
That is the question that needs to be asked.
That is the question that needs to be asked. I mean, because you can't say, well, if you reassess my property and inflation, my property then is valued at more. That means my tax is going to go up and therefore I shouldn't support something. That's kind of not the angle that you should go at it. You should go at it, if you're wanting to question it, you should be whether or not, is the system operating within an appropriate budget? And if that budget is less than what the money derived off of the income from the tax after reassessment, will the system roll back or roll forward, meaning will they give you money back or not? Well, that's your question as well too. That excess of money, is there a plan or is there not a plan to spend that money already?
Shell game. Watch these shells over here while I move this shell over here.
Now, teachers, and love them to death, teachers will say, we haven't had a raise in forever, and we deserve a raise. And I don't think I'm not going to say that teachers aren't deserving of a raise. I don't think you're going to say that either, because I think they are.
I agree with you 100%.
And a lot of teachers, just like Tommy Chandler, would probably just as soon put a pitchfork in us just as fast as anybody else. But what they don't understand is that we're not their enemy. But What we are an enemy of is that they're not made a priority over other parts of an education system. I will say this, I don't think the educators are the priority in the education system. I think athletics is the priority.
No way.
I said it. Y'all can hold me to task for it. If education and educators and teachers were the priority of the education system, I think teachers' pay would be higher. And if that meant sacrificing athletics, you know what? So be it. That's the way it should be.
Hey, you've heard me say it a whole bunch. I'm all about the high school and junior fishing deals and all that. Guess what? They operate as independent clubs. They're not really affiliated or really supported by the schools, other than schools let them have meetings and let them wear jerseys. Some of the schools do, but they're an independent deal. Maybe the rest of the athletics should follow suit. Maybe they should get rid of the LHSAA and come up with another organization. But that's a whole other conversation as well.
Yeah. So bottom line, what you're left with is a shell game as to whether or not, upon reassessment, will you get some relief from the taxing authority, or will you not? I'm going to say you're not going to get it. In fact, I could play an audio where the existing superintendent in Bossier says they're already making plans on pay raises. Now, he didn't say what he was thinking or his why, but I'm going to tell you, and I could play the audio, but I think they're counting numbers down the road and anticipating on giving teachers a raise, justifiably so, probably with the extra money that'll come in after reassessment. That's my guess.
Yeah. We'll see how it comes out. We'll see how that comes out, and we'll see how soon the Linton Road Bridge gets finished. We did have a bet. Let's see. I think it was David Johnson. Was it David? Yes. David Johnson says completely done by Thanksgiving. So we're marking that down by showing it on the screen. All right.
I don't know that we're ready to be marking down, because somebody made a post last show and set a time, and we don't have it wrote down.
I got to go through every show. We will get to that. I will come up with a method and finish a video by next week. That is a promise. One way or the other.
All right.
All righty. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up, folks. We appreciate everybody watching. We still got 40 people, and we're at 2 hours and 20-something minutes here, so that's not bad. We kind of got down in the weeds with soil and cement. But we did get the Lanier Bridge rolling. We did get bungee jumping going on. We've got a glass elevator, all thanks to Mayor Tommy Chandler. Notice I called him Mayor this time. And Lieutenant Governor, probably running for governor, Billy Nungesser. Thanks to those guys so much. And thank you, Lisa, for clarifying the Chamber's wish list as well. We appreciate everybody commenting. Y'all know the deal. If you got mail you want to, or information you want to share with us, Bossier Watch a Proton Mail. Make your own Proton Mail account. Do it anonymously. No identifying information. We do review those. And I guess we will see everybody either Thursday night or for sure next Tuesday night. One of the two, or maybe both.
Hey, how about a go-kart racetrack on the bridge?
Oh, yes. Now you're thinking, too.
Because I'm going to put somebody in the wall.
No, they need to have those inflatable big ball things that you get inside in the middle of and they push you. We need those from the top of the bridge. Now, I don't know about getting them back. We'll have to have a tow system to get them back up, like a ski lift. So we also need a ski lift to go to the top of the bridge.
That'd freaking be awesome.
That'd be awesome. All right, folks. We're out of here.
Good night.
Good night.